everyone, my name is Christy. Welcome to my corner. Thanks for joining me today for Flosstube 107. And it's been, I think, about 3 weeks since my last Flosstube. I had meant to film in 2 weeks and that just did not happen. So this is my May wrap up and I did pretty well in May. I didn't quite follow the plan I had intended, but I did stitch on a lot of medieval stuff and yeah, I can't wait to show you. So I have, what's happening? What do I have to talk about today? A little bit of stitching. I have a few, I think I have 3 whips. I have some non-stitching other crafting finished objects to show you, fully finished objects to show you. I have a little bit of like non-stitchy haul and also a really exciting purchase from Facebook Marketplace. I'm so excited. So excited. Life updates, I talk about that. And then I have talk about like things that I'm doing. And that's basically what this is going to be. I don't think it's going to be very long, but I guess you'll know better than me because at this point I'm at 1 minute and 17 seconds and have said almost nothing. So before we get to all this stuff, I want to welcome my new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me on my crafty and artistic adventures, and welcome back to all my friends who've been hanging out with me for however long you've been with me. It has been great to get to know you in the comments here on YouTube and also on Instagram. And if you're not following me on Instagram, you can find me in 2 places. Neither of them have been very active. I'll talk about that in a minute too. But you can find me at Dr_Christy, which is my main Instagram account. And you can also find me at the Spoolery, which is my homage to vintage wooden spools and vintage sewing paraphernalia. You can also find me as one of the moderators on the Stitchers Collective Instagram account. And that's kind of why I haven't been posting much on my own account. I was kind of running the grid on that for several months and I got burned out. And so I just felt like I was always on Instagram. Yeah, I feel like I was always on Instagram and for the Stitchers Collective. And so then I didn't want to even think about it for my own profile. So I've taken a break from the Stitchers Collective Instagram account, but Christy from Pixie X Stitch has taken over those duties the next month for Pride Month, because for the Stitchers Collective, some of our members are collaborating with Starlight Stitchery for a charity Pride bundle. So there's a different website for that from the Earth Day bundle, and I'll put the link in the description box down below. So that explains the fun Stitchers Collective stuff that's happening, and also why I haven't been posting on Instagram very much. So my hope is that starting on Monday, I will kind of start posting on my own account more, including I'm going to try scheduling posts ahead of time, because what I find is that I just start kind of scrolling through Instagram before posting. And then I'm tired of Instagram and I don't want to post. So yeah, I've decided to, I don't know, use a scheduler, or I've also been thinking about doing a social media manager that kind of manages all my social media, but I might not be to that point yet. Anyway, that's a lot of words about social media. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for following me on Instagram. Thank you for your comments and your likes and all those things. If you are here and you've never been here before, this is a channel about embroidery and cross stitch and other textile crafts and history and the history of all those things. So if any of that is interesting to you and you're not subscribed, I'd love to have you subscribe and stick around and like and comment and all of those things too. That helps the algorithm, as they say. Yeah, I also want to thank my patrons. I do have a Patreon and they support the work that I do. And my Patreon is mostly focused on history. So I'm a medieval historian and I kind of write blogs and share neat primary sources that I come across. And sometimes I post videos, and they're not always about medieval Europe, but they mostly are because that's what I study and that's what I teach. And I just started last weekend. Well, before I say this, I'm currently teaching a class for my university on European witchcraft. So this is looking at witchcraft from about 400 CE to about 1700 CE in Europe, and it's going to end in the Americas in sort of the 17th and early 18th century. So I decided that I would do a series for my patrons about witchcraft. And so I'm doing a whole kind of educational series on my Patreon about witchcraft, and it's essentially following my course. So if you're interested in learning about witchcraft, it's called Witchcraft in the European Imagination, and it's looking at how ideas of witchcraft have changed, and how ideas of like witchcraft and sorcery and heresy and all these kinds of like views on magic have changed from the early medieval period into the early modern period. If you're interested in that, you should check out my Patreon. The link is down below. And I expect it'll be about 12 weeks is what I'm expecting. My goal is to post once, like have a post up once a week. And my class is 4.5 weeks, but it's, you know, hundreds of pages of reading. And so I'm not making anyone do that. So it's going to take longer in Patreon time. But we just did the introduction last week. And then this week I'm going to post about St. Augustine and his views on sorcery and heresy and prognostication and those kinds of things. So yeah, and paganism, you know, all the fun early modern, all the fun early medieval fears of these sort of Christian fathers. Yeah, so if you want to, you know, find out more about witchcraft and how views of witchcraft have changed throughout Europe, and this is particularly in Europe, particular Christian views of witchcraft, then check out my Patreon and you can find stuff about that. And my June pattern is going to be connected to the witchcraft sort of series. Yeah, I do some tiers have a monthly pattern, some tiers just do history, but anyway, it'll be fun. So if you're interested in that, check out the link in the description box down below. Okay, let's do like my non-stitchy stuff first. I've been trying to do more things in my town. My town has a very active library system, and my town has a very active arts council. And if you remember last time, I think it was last time, it may have been 2 videos ago, I had done an applique, bird applique, you know, project at my arts council. Well, this past 3 weeks, I don't remember when I did it anymore, but I did a craft at my local library, and we made dried flower votives. Aren't they pretty? The light's not doing me any favors here, so yeah. But I made that, and I think it's really pretty. So I wanted to show you that. And those of you who've been with me for a while know that I went through like a tapestry weaving phase. And I've sort of fallen out of that phase. And I think because the things never looked how I wanted them to look. And that made me really sad. And so I just sort of lost interest. And I think also I had to, my loom was in here. And so like I couldn't, you know, my stitchy spot's in my living room. And my husband watches TV and I stitch and watch Flosstube, and we're not like talking, but we're at least together, and that's very nice. When I was weaving, I'd have to do it in here, and this is in a different building. This is in sort of a studio building. It's like an in-law house that we have on our property. And property is a very grand term for 2 buildings on the same like corner lot. We're not like, we don't have like acreage. In fact, almost all of our property is covered in building. Anyway, that's irrelevant. But I have to do the weaving in here because it's just too much for the house. So I kind of lost interest. But I bought a lot of supplies. Because those of you who do crafts know that the purchasing of supplies, the air conditioner just turned on. Those of you who do crafts know that the purchasing of supplies is often a separate hobby than the doing of the hobby. So I have all of these supplies for weaving. And one of the weavers that I follow posted something that she had done that is a macrame technique, but it's not normal macrame, it's wrapping. And so I decided that I loved it, how it looked. And so I made a little like wall hanging that's like a wrapped wall hanging on one of my big wooden industrial spools. But isn't that pretty? I love this so much. So I have a blue, like a vintagey blue plastic industrial spool that's about the same size that I just cleaned up. And I'm going to do that one in blue, white, and peach because my friend Valerie sent me all sorts of skeins of yarn that she had dyed or spun, you know, one of the two, depending on which one. And I want to use them, and they're so pretty, and they would go with that perfectly. So I love this. It has leather at the top, and then wool, and a twine, and some wire, and some macrame cord, and then that variegated again, right? And then some brown twine, a little bit more leather, some white yarn, that yellow, the variegated, and then it ends with green macrame cord. And I really, really like it. I really like it. And so what I want to do then, so the blue one's going to be 1 again. And then I want to do a longer one with 3, where in like one case, well, maybe I shouldn't do that. First, I'm just going to do 3 and see how I like it. And then I want to do one with 3 where every once in a while they're like connected by like a figure 8 of wrapping. I don't know, maybe getting a little too fancy. So anyway, I'm really pleased with this. And it's using, the only thing I had to buy was this rope. I bought a 10, I think it's a 10 millimeter macrame cord. It's the only thing I bought. I bought a roll of this and everything else I already had. So I'm really happy. I'm really happy with this. And I'm going to make more. They're quick and they use up my supplies and I think they're really striking. So that's the other thing that I made. Now, I think when last we met, it was like the first week in May, and I had worked on my Lady and the Unicorn and shown you that, and I decided I was going to start working on Elephantine by Roz Clark Craft. I don't think I showed it to you, but I worked on it. And this is my week 2 of Medieval May. And I did an elephant. This is what it's going to look like. And that's what I have done. And I'm really, really pleased. So that's very exciting. I have a whole little elephant. Now this is going to have like a castle on top and then there's bigger elephants and stuff like that. But I'm not very close to being done. But I do have a whole elephant. And part of a border. So if you're interested in stitching Elephantine, it is by Roz Clark Crafts, and I will link her Flosstube down below so you can check her out. And I'm keeping this in a bag with thread on it because everything is thread on it, in my raw dinosaurs bag. I love it. See, it's got little dinosaurs and it has a volcano in the background, and this is supposed to say raw, but you can't read it because I can't find a color that will like show up. You can read it in person. Anyway, that was just a fun thing that I did a little while ago. After I did the Elephantine, my plan for week 3 of May was to work on my Hildegard of Bingen's Cosmic Egg. And this is a mixed media embroidery piece that I'm doing again. I had already done one that I sold to a friend for his wife, who is also my friend's birthday, really cheap, considering how much time I put into it. But I wanted one for myself. So I started making one for myself, and it kind of languished, as things tend to do. And yeah, so that was my plan, was to pick that up again. This is the image. It's a medieval image by a 12th century nun and abbess named Hildegard of Bingen. If you want to find out more about that, you can find out about it up here. I think that's where it will pop up. I did a whole video on Hildegard of Bingen's Cosmic Egg. So like I said, this is what it's going to look like. Oh, and here's where it was last time. And that's where I am now. So what I did was I did this sort of outside. Oh, I think I did all this. I did this side here, which was like the world ocean. This here is clouds, I think. Maybe these are clouds. I'm not remembering. And then I did the painting. Now, I ran out of paint because I just had a small travel watercolor paint. And I did the first version of this. I did this book from this embroidery piece. And then I did this with the same little tray of blue watercolor. So this part here, I'm going to need to go over again. I might go over a bunch of it again just to darken it up. I like it. I want it dark. I want it darker. But I'm really pleased with this. This is being stitched, and I didn't mention this. I don't know what elephantine is being stitched on. It was a grab bag from Color and Cotton. I think it's a 20 count Aida in sort of a modelly yellow. That's all I can, like a modelly, like light buttery yellow. This is being stitched on, I believe, a linen from fabricstore.com, and it's double layered. It's backed with natural Essex linen, which is a 50-50 cotton linen blend that I got from Fat Quarter Shop, I'm pretty sure. And this is just on a frame with thumbtacks. And this frame is nothing special. It is literally a cheap canvas frame, like a cheap canvas from Michael's. And I ripped the canvas off and I use it as an embroidery stitching frame. It is 8.5 by 11, which is the same size as the piece. So it works out really well. But I feel so good that I made some progress on this. And those of you who are my patrons will have already seen sort of the process of the painting. That was part of my vlog that I uploaded this weekend. So I just feel really good that it has gotten somewhere. I feel like it's gotten somewhere. I'm nowhere near finished, but it visually looks like I accomplished something, and that feels really good. So this is my Hildegard of Bingen's Cosmic Egg. For week 4, I was supposed to start, well, this was supposed to be week 2. Week 2, I was supposed to start this. Couldn't find fabric, couldn't find floss. So then I switched it with elephantine, and this was supposed to be week 4. This is Moss Creek Designs, Blackwork 2, Medieval Maiden. This was a gift along with the Medieval Knight. And I was going to start this. I could not find a fabric in my stash that I liked. I really wanted it to be white. I wanted like a nice white linen, and I realized that I have no nice white linen. I didn't want to use an Aida for this because I wasn't sure. It's black work. And so I wasn't sure if they were going to be like half stitches, like, you know, I would have need to split the Aida. And I just really wanted to do it on linen, and I didn't have any. I mean, I have a ton of white linen, but it's all like clothing linen. It's not even weave linen. So I had to come up with something else for my 4th week. And my Patreon pattern for May was medieval themed. So I thought, why don't I do that? So this is the pattern for my May patrons on Patreon. It's called The Jester. And I started him, and I have a jester. And for those of you who got this pattern, it calls for white in all these empty spaces, not in the face, but in the empty spaces in the pattern and also in the border. But you don't have to do it if you don't want to. I don't know that I'm going to do it. I'm going to save it until last and see if I feel like doing it, because I think I kind of like it looking the way it looks. Oh no, maybe this was the yellow. Now I don't know what I stitched elephantine on. I'm thinking this is the light buttery yellow, maybe. No, it's not. No, I was right. This is like a beige. I'm losing my mind. Look at that grumpy jester. A grumpy jester. This is still available. If you join my Patreon, you can get this. And you'll also be getting a witch-themed pattern for June. And if you join right now, you also get April's, which are really pretty flowers. This is April's design. So now is sort of like the beginning of the month is like a really good time to join, because you get 2 previous ones and you get the next one, because they disappear after like 2 months. Just a plug, another Patreon plug. I'm sorry that I'm plugging Patreon so much, but I'm really excited about this witch class that I'm teaching, and I want to teach everybody about witches because it's so much fun. I'm learning things that I didn't know because I hadn't like looked into this in so long. But like, fun fact, so I've been reading for class. Well, I read for this past week a text called the Malleus Maleficarum, and this is like the most famous witchcraft text. It was written in in what is now Germany in the 1480s by these 2 Dominican inquisitors, and they are hugely misogynistic, and a lot of what we think of as witches comes from this text. The fact that they're mostly female, the fact that they're like super sexual, the fact that they like have sex with demons and stuff like that. All that stuff is seen in bits and pieces before, but it's all like combined into this Malleus Maleficarum. But the other thing I learned, because there's this whole question about like having sex with demons and like demons impregnating human women, and like, can demons actually produce semen to impregnate women, or do they have to steal it from someone else? So that's where you get like an incubus and a succubus. So a demon turns into a succubus and has sex with a man and like steals his semen, and then either hands it off to an incubus or then turns into an incubus and has sex with a woman. But then there was this whole like question about like digestion and can demons poop? Apparently demons don't poop. In case you were wondering, demons don't poop. And apparently, according to the Malleus Maleficarum, Jesus didn't poop because he was too perfect to poop. Because if you poop, it means you're not perfect. And I'm using the analogy they use, the metaphor they used. I guess it'd be a simile. When Jesus ate, it went into his stomach and then basically like disappeared like water on a fire, like water on flame. It just like disappeared. I find that fascinating. That was like the most fascinating part of that, and the idea of latria, which is a Latin word, which is the adoration that should be reserved only for God. And idolatry is idolatria. It's having this adoration of an idol. And I didn't know that latria was a word. And so that idea of latria really fascinated me as like a medieval historian who studies like law and medieval law and Christian law and medieval Christianity. Anyway, that was a lot of talk about that. This is going to be a very long episode because now I'm talking about witches. But I'm so excited. I love this class. I love reading for this class. It's a lot of work. It's taking up so much of my time, which is why I didn't film last weekend. But I love it so much. Yeah, so my jester. I love him so much too. I find him delightful. So that's all my stitching. That's all my stitching. And I did make a couple purchases, although nothing, very little, that's very exciting, except for the one big exciting. Oh, that's not true. I have a couple exciting things. I lied. Very exciting purchases. So on the boring purchase front, Michael's had some 14 count iridescent Aida on clearance for $5. So I picked up a 15 by 18. Is that a fat quarter? Yeah, about a fat quarter. I think it's almost a fat quarter, not quite. 15 inches by 18 inches, 38.1 by 45.7 centimeters for those of you in the metric system. And then they also had this on clearance, which is, you know, I don't know if you, I like making paper. I haven't made it in a bit, but I do like making paper. And they're doing paper making now, apparently, kits at Michael's. And they had these molds, which you can make tags and also envelopes. So you can make tags and envelopes. I was so excited. I think this was like $3. It says $10.99, but I think it was like $3. So that's my not super exciting purchases. My exciting purchases are, number one, back in April. Must have been April. There was, speaking of my local arts council, there was a textile exhibit from a local quilters group. And they made amazing, amazing quilts. So I bought one. It's a wall hanging. But when you see it, you'll know why I bought it. It's a little mechanical red-headed lady with spool on a unicycle. Isn't this the best? Oh my God. Like, I saw this and the spool is like my color. It's like my color. Sorry, I was looking at my, it's like that color. I love it. And it matches. Oh my God, we match. Me and this pool lady are the same person. We're the same person. See, she can't see either. She has glasses. We're like the same person. But look, she has a little pincushion on her head. Isn't this amazing? It's amazing. I love it so much. So I bought this, and then I bought something that I couldn't bring in here because it's much too heavy. So I will insert a little clip here. Friends, I bought an antique Singer sewing machine with a case. Look at that. Isn't she beautiful? So that is my really exciting purchase from Facebook Marketplace. And it has a cord. So it plugs in there, and the cord, I do have the cord. There is a light. So this light here apparently does work. I haven't tried it yet. It needs to be cleaned, but it's so pretty. And the woman who owned this, who sold me this, also had a bunch of treadle sewing machines. So I may go back and get a treadle sewing machine. Anyway, I'm really excited and it makes me really happy. So I will take you back to the corner. Isn't it beautiful? Oh my God, I'm so excited. So I think I said in that clip that the electrical works, but I don't have a foot pedal. So we'll see. Maybe someday I will put a foot pedal in there and use that. And I haven't contacted the woman again, but I am definitely going to contact her about a treadle machine because I want a treadle machine. I really want a treadle machine. Those are my really super fun purchases. And I think that's all the stitchy stuff and Holly and purchasey stuff that I have. Hey, Editing Christy here, and I realized that I never discussed plans. So I have a very busy week or so. My AP grading ends on Thursday. So I don't want to make any sort of major plans until after that. But I do have WIPs I want to work on. I want to work on cleaning up my studio space. And I also am planning on participating in a ridiculous stitch along that is like immediate. And it's from Catherine and Victoria over at Neat and Out by the Sea. And they are based in New Zealand. And they film together, and they are delightful. I've been watching them, I think since they first started, I've been watching them. So I'll link them down below. So the sale is because Catherine bought some patterns, and Catherine doesn't buy many patterns. So this was actually very unusual. and she bought a pattern with pigs on them. And they decided they were going to take like the little pigs and make a brooch out of it. And it was going to be the pigs on my chest, Sal. And I love a brooch. I love a good brooch. So I've decided I'm going to participate in that. So I'm going to find a pig pattern. And my dog just sat outside. And I have an old cross-stitch magazine that has like a Noah's Ark in it. I'm sure it has a pig, but I'll look through I have some old cross-stitch magazines from like the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. They loved pigs. They loved farm animals at that point. So I'm going to check there and see if that will be good enough. Anyway, I'm excited. Pigs on my chest, Sal. And I might even have some plastic canvas. I'll have to look. I'll have to see what I have. Anyway, okay, that's it for me. Back to the main video. Bye. I guess I'm just going to talk about what's been happening in my life, just a little update on what's going on with me, and then I will let you get on with your day. And I'm losing my voice a little bit. So it's summer break, but summer break doesn't actually mean anything for me at the moment. I am still on contract. I still have a lot of work that I have to do for the department. Those of you who are new, like I said, I'm a history professor, but I'm also the chair of the department. And so I just have a lot of like paperwork and assessments and those kinds of things. Then I have large projects I want to work on. I want to start a graduate program that I have to apply to do to the state, to the Institutes of Higher Learning, who are a state body that govern public institutions in Mississippi, which is where I am. So I have to fill out all that paperwork, and I have to, we want to hire a historian of African American history. That has not been very successful, unfortunately, in the last 2 tries. So we're hoping the 3rd time is the charm. So if you are a historian of African American history, with a PhD or are ABD and want to work with a really great department who is super supportive and will let you teach all the classes that you've ever wanted to teach, we are teaching focused, then hit me up and I'll put you on my mailing list when the job ad goes live. Also, we're looking for a political scientist to teach a class next semester in Intro to Political Science. If you're a political scientist, hit me up. I'll send you to that application. Anyway, sorry. So that's another thing I have to do, and then I have to plan. I'm behind on that too. I'm leading the study abroad for honors students next year. Every May, our honors students, the sophomores, go on a trip, and my friend / colleague and I are taking them to Spain. It's going to be awesome, but we have to start preparing for that, including a video to send to them to tell them that they're going to Spain, because they don't have any idea unless they watch my videos, which I don't know if they do. I don't know. So summer break doesn't really mean anything. And then I'm also teaching this witchcraft class, which, as you know, I love. But every time I've taught a summer class in the past, it's been a class I've taught 100 times. So it's just been World Civ 1. I used to teach that every semester, twice a semester. I've taught it 30 times since I got here. And so I would just teach that in the summer. And so there wasn't a ton of prep. I would update it. I would, make sure everything was current, and I'd stay connected with my students. But there wasn't this prep. I'm doing so much prep, so much prep for this class. It's taking so much time. I mean, it's taking me as much time or more time to prep the class as it is for my students to take the class, right? And so, I mean, it's 15, 20 hours a week just in this class. So it's a lot. So I haven't had a ton of time to do other things that I wanted to do. But the class ends on the 22nd of June, and then my contract ends on the 30th of June. So then in July, I have an actual break. I do have to work a couple days for orientations and stuff, but I actually can go see my family and, I don't know, go on vacation. So we have a fun vacation planned. I'm going to visit my family. My cousin's bachelorette party is at the end of July, so that'll be really fun. My husband has his commencement at the end of July. And in fact, he's defending his thesis on Monday, and he's reading his, like, in 2 days, Monday, or actually when you see this, it'll be tomorrow, Monday. And he is doing his thesis reading Sunday night, which I'm posting this on Sunday. So this is Sunday night, right? It's Saturday night today. And like right now, it's Saturday night for me, but I'm going to edit and post this tomorrow. So that's one thing that's happening. And then to add on top of all of that, because I have no chill, I score AP exams. And so for those of you who are not in the United States or not in education, or have kids in school, AP exams are advanced placement exams. And basically in high school, you can take an AP class and you learn, the curriculum for the class, and then you take the test at the end. And if you get a certain score, that can then count towards college credit later on, university credit. So I score the European history essays along with thousands of other people. And usually I do it on site in Kansas City. But this year, because I have so much going on, I'm doing it from home. I thought I started today. And so I had taken yesterday off. I was going to run errands and wrap up a bunch of things and film this Flosstube and film a vlog and edit things and blah, 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 and get myself ready. And I had a good, productive morning. I went to the office. It was great. I went and ran some errands. I get home. There's an email that says, for your first day on June 2nd. And I'm like, today's June 2nd. So my AP grading started yesterday. So that really threw my plans for a loop. I'm not going to lie. So I hopped on, and luckily because it's virtual, I can get on whenever I want. So I got on and I trained, and and I only signed up for 5 hours a day to work because I knew I couldn't do more. And I can do more if I want to, but I knew it would be difficult. So I did 4 hours. After this, I'm going to do another hour before I go to bed. Yeah. So that's been a nice little addition to my, to my schedule. Oh, well, it is what it is. It's okay money. It'll supplement. It'll pay for all the wedding trips I have to do. My cousin and my sister are both getting married in the next 6 months, the next 4 months. And so I have a bachelorette party in July, a bachelorette party in August, a wedding in September, and a wedding in August. And a wedding in September, a wedding in October. So there's a lot happening. So yeah, this will help pay for that, which will be good. And I'm looking forward to them. I think it'll be really fun. In fact, my sister's bridal shower was today. I couldn't go, obviously, because I'm here and not there. But I'm from New Jersey, and so that was taking place in New Jersey at my family's house. But I'm sure she had a great time. My stepmom loves planning things like that. Loves it. I think that if she could be an event planner, like a low-key, casual event planner, not with high pressure, bridezillas and stuff, but just totally chill people, I think she would plan. I think she'd totally do that as a second career. I think she would. She loves planning stuff. I think that's all that's happening with me. It's a lot of work. I'm trying to stitch, but I'm not stitching very much. I'm just feeling kind of burnt out at the end of the night. So I have a bag of macrame scraps that I bought from a local macrame artist. I think I'm actually going to take that into the house. And when I'm feeling I want to do something with my hands, but I don't want to think about it. I don't want to count. I don't want to make decisions. I might just kind of pull that out and just organize it. And I want it to get done. So I think I'm just going to start doing that. Just that's my sitting on the couch, don't want to think, watching videos, hand activity that will help me feel like I accomplished something without any pressure. I think that's my plan. So I'm losing my voice and I'm looking at water. So I'm going to go have some water, and I will talk to you soon. I'm hoping My hope is 2 weeks. I can't guarantee. My hope is 2 weeks. I can't guarantee, but it's been nice hanging out with you. So thanks for joining me, and hopefully 2 weeks. Fingers crossed. I did better than last time, which was 4 weeks. So I'm happy to hang out with you. And I'm feeling like I'm having a really good hair day. I cut my bangs today and I washed my hair. Oh, my new hair washing situation. We talked about this. I'm really liking it. And it's calming down. And I think it's looking cute, but it makes me look, I don't know, shiny. Am I looking shiny? So there you go. My hair situation. Okie dokie. I'll talk to you later, and yeah, have a good, happy Pride Month, and check out the Stitchers Collective and Starlight Stitchery's collab. Link is down below, and I will see you hopefully before the end of the month. Hopefully. I'll see you then. So take care of yourselves and have a good one. Bye.